Ricken Financial presents Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens.
Indeed, this is Kicking It with the Rickens. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, and here with Jerry Ricken as Heidi Ricken Provost is out today, and we're gearing up here. You're hearing this after Thanksgiving, but Jerry, you've just had a big Thanksgiving event at Ricken Financial there, and of course, people that want to hook up with you and your team can go to rickenfinancial.com, but your clients got pie and they got a big food spread over there.
Oh, absolutely. Every year, what we do is we host a huge open house Thanksgiving appreciation event for all of our clients in St. Louis. And we also do that for our out-of-town clients as well. But yesterday was all about the clients in St. Louis. And Heidi and I actually, over the weekend, made several pies. When I say several pies, we made actually 60 pies for this specific event because several people couldn't make it. But these are the famous salted caramel crumb cinnamon apple pies. Actually, I said that wrong. Heidi's going to correct me on this. It is the salted caramel cinnamon crumb apple pies. So we make those from scratch every year. We put a lot of love into it, and then we make a lot of appetizers, have some food and drink, and just socialize with people. So we did that from 2 to 7 yesterday. It was a huge event, and Heidi is on her way to Boston right now to celebrate the holiday with her in-laws. So
fantastic.
So she's that's why she's not with us today. But it was a lot of fun, and people enjoy it, and you know there are no calories in our pies, so you can feel free to eat those without any worry at all.
Pie or the Coke Zero pie or something.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well,
that's fantastic.
And that obviously was a false statement, so I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that there are calories in our pies. So just for compliance sake.
And there's always when you're cranking out that many. How many did you say again? It was 120.
We did 60 over the
60.
weekend.
I don't know where I got.
Yeah, we did 60 over the weekend. I have my burn marks on my hands to prove it. So
the blood, sweat, and tears put into the meal there, put into serving your clients there, and there are a few leftover pies, and there's a family tie that has to do with where you donate your delicious leftovers.
Absolutely. You see this guy over my shoulder right here, Willie Ricken, my dad, was a firefighter for years and years and years in the Sedgwick County Fire Department in Kansas. So there are a lot of Thanksgivings that we spent at the firehouse. So, in fact, every other Thanksgiving we spent at the firehouse celebrating with Dad. So what we do with our leftover pies, we actually have 8 leftover pies right now, and I'm delivering those to local firefighters here in the St. Louis area.
That's
so
fantastic.
The people who are working on their shift will be on Thursday, so that's what we're going to do with those. So
that's incredible.
Just to pay back a little bit.
One thing that people forget on these holidays, and I know just having been in live, local media for so many years, you're on duty because there still needs to be news and that product for people to use when they're out celebrating with family or driving to and fro grandma's house. But first responders are always on duty.
They're always on duty. First responders are always on duty. Nurses are always on duty. Patient care techs in the hospital are always on duty. I mean, there are a lot of people that are working to make our lives a lot simpler.
And a lot of things that stay open on Thanksgiving, too, a lot of restaurants and stuff, too. So there's people that are leaving their families to go out and to serve us, and we thank them all for that.
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without it. It's what makes the world go around, is serving people.
Well, hard work, service, and tender love and care to your clients there are how we opened the big first block of this episode, and that all has to feed into this next topic here, Jerry, our topic of the day, so to speak. In our past episodes just recently, we've talked about the election and potential effect on tax strategy and what a phase 2 planner is. And I think about that topic in particular, Jerry, because you need specific planners for specific types of things. And you see some people get misled by how readily available certain information is on cable news or the internet.
Oh, and we find that a lot, Doug. When we talk to people, they will come in and they'll say, well, Dave, I heard Dave Ramsey say this, or I heard Susie Orman say this, or I heard so-and-so say this. And those people talk in generalities. They're actually paid celebrities. They make a living on going in front of the camera and talking, and they get sponsorships, and they don't know your specific needs. They don't know your specific spend. They don't know what makes you tick. They don't know your risk tolerance. They haven't met you. The most important thing you can do is find someone who actually understands what your life is all about. What are your wants, needs, desires? What's your income stream? What's your spend? What's it going to look like in retirement? Do you want to leave a legacy to your children? What about estate planning? What if I want to retire early? Dave Ramsey doesn't know those things. He hasn't met you. He won't make you a salted caramel cinnamon crumb apple pie either. But what we do is we take a deep dive and understand, because we want to understand who you are as a person, who you are as a family, what your goals are, what are your desires. Do you want to take the kids and your grandkids to Disneyland, to Disney World? Do you want to go to the Smoky Mountains? Do you want to do whatever you want to do? Do you want to go to Michigan in the summer and spend time up on the shore up there? Do you want to go to Florida in the winter? What do you really want to do in retirement? What's going to feed your soul? We want to find out what's going to feed your soul, and then we want to put a plan into place to make sure that those goals are accomplished. When I think about people listening to those talking heads on the television or the internet, or listening to TikTok, I can't tell you how many times we get a call that says, hey, I saw this on TikTok. It was financial advice on TikTok. That's like taking naming advice for your children from George Foreman. He has 5 boys named George and 7 girls, and one of them's name's Georgette. So that isn't where you need to listen. That isn't where you need to be. You don't listen to somebody on TikTok just because they posted something about, oh my gosh, here's the greatest tax advice. They don't know your tax situation. Have they looked at your 1040? Do they know what your tax? Do they know how much your Social Security is taxable? Do they know anything about you? No, they don't. So it always amazes me when people do that, or and I equate taking financial advice from sources like that to watching Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil, and that's all your medical advice. You never go to a doctor, but you just watch those people. And it always fascinates me too when they say, "Well, Oprah said I should do this." Yeah, that's nice. Oprah's a billionaire, so yeah, they're not the person who's scrimped and saved. I mean, she worked hard to where she got, and I don't fault her for what she has, but she's in a different realm than most of our clientele, than all of our clientele actually. So we just want to make sure that your goals and your objectives are met and satisfied. And what we do, Doug, is we want to understand who you are first of all. Where you are as a family. Someone said, well, Dave Ramsey said my ideal portfolio allocation should be 25% here, 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 and here. 25% in each one of these 4 buckets. And I said, well, that's interesting, because has Dave Ramsey done a risk analysis on you to understand how much tolerance you want to take? If the market goes down, how far down do you want to go? If the market goes up, do you want all the upside? Do you want a portion of the upside? What about your fees? All of those things. What about your taxes? Does Dave Ramsey know how much you have in qualified funds, Roth, and traditional 401k IRAs versus non-qualified, which you've already paid the tax on? So there are a lot of things that are involved here that we take a deep dive into, and that's primarily on the tax side, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's not what you make, it's what you keep after the IRS grabs a portion of that in your state and local taxes. So it's what do you net after taxes? So we need to work tax-wise and tax efficient and tax proficient to make sure that you have the best result.
So how do you arrive at that? When you sit down with somebody and they go to rickyfinancial.com or dial you up 314-442-6476, what do you do?
What we do is the first thing we do is we want to understand where you are financially and where you are with respect to your retirement date. We had some people here yesterday that are in their 20s. They're just getting started. But we were able to design some plans for them to eliminate their debt and save at the same time. So we need to understand where you are and what phase of your life, and we can see you at any phase in your life. And the earlier you start, the better off you are, especially with respect to taxes. So the plans that I just talked about with the 20-year-olds, those are all going to be tax-free money in the future. So we want to make sure that we are on target with where you are and understand where you are now and where you want to be. And we want to make sure that you never run out of money in retirement. So we start with everything that you have, and we focus in on what you need. A lot of people say, well, I'm not sure if I have enough assets to retire. Well, it isn't about your assets. It's about your income.
Good point.
So designing the income plan is the most important thing you can do in retirement. It isn't how big your nest egg is, because a nest egg can be broken.
Yeah.
Eggs crack. Okay, eggs crack and eggs split open, and the yolk may fall out, and you're left with the white stuff, and that can be slimy if it's not cooked properly. So,
Truth.
but what we do is we say, okay, where are you? What's your income? What's your guaranteed income in retirement? Social Security, pensions, those kinds of things. Do we need to design some additional guaranteed income for you to make sure that all of your expenses are covered? If you have guaranteed income in retirement that covers all of your expenses, you're 90% of the way there, because you don't have to worry as much about the market fluctuations. You still need to worry about that, because we still need to understand your risk tolerance and where you are and where you want to be, so that we can design the most efficient plan from a tax perspective and from a financial perspective. So what we do is we gather a lot of information, Doug, a lot of information, and we ask a lot of questions. We ask a lot of questions because we want to make sure that we have a solid foundation before we can build on that. You know, when you look at a home builder, what is the first thing they do? They put in a solid foundation. You don't want to build a home on something that'll crumble underneath it, because the whole thing can come down. So we want to make sure that we have a solid foundation and a good base to build on. Then we start looking at things that we believe can help you in retirement, especially from the tax efficiency side. And some people say, well, I'd like to retire before 65. Well, what are your biggest issues there? One of your biggest issues there is healthcare.
Yeah.
If you need to find a healthcare plan, because all of us, in my opinion, need healthcare, because anything can happen to any of us at any point in time. We're just not in control. We aren't in control. So having a healthcare plan, and whether that's self-insuring for a couple of years, whether that's using, the plans that are out there in the marketplace, whether there's a COBRA plan that if you leave in your employer, you can latch onto that same plan that you've had for years and do that for 18 months. There are all kinds of different elements that we work on to make sure that you're covered. But we want to make sure that you're covered because you need to cover your assets, because if you don't cover your assets, that's a CYA thing.
Yeah.
Because if something happens bad, health-wise, it can ruin your whole retirement planning efforts. So a lot of people say, what about Social Security? When you look at Social Security, each one of these things we do is like a fingerprint. It's different for every client that comes through this door. And we want to make sure that when you come in, we understand where you are. And some people say, well, my break even for Social Security is this. Well, if you're married, have you looked at it as a break even for your family? Most people don't. They look at it, the calculators that are out there are break even analysis for one person. What we do is we look at both of you together, because there's a survivor benefit. When one of you passes away, the lowest benefit goes away. So why not make the highest income earner have that benefit be the largest? So that means waiting until age 70. If you have other assets to use until age 70, that may make some sense, especially if you're not making an 8% guaranteed rate of return in your other investments. That's what Social Security right now has. It's between 66 and 70 is an 8% guaranteed rate of return plus the cost of living adjustment. So this year it's 2.5%. So the people who waited from last year to this year or next year will be 10.5% as an increase in their benefit. Well, that's a huge increase.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get a 10.5% guarantee in your money market account right now.
No.
And that's probably really good, since a lot of people are trying to buy homes. And if I remember those days when I first bought our first home, the interest rates were 22%. I mean, the prime was up to 18, 19% in the country. Wow. And everything was, inflation was outrageous. But thank goodness we're not in those environments anymore. But the whole point is, don't take advice from a talking head, or if you do, take it with a grain of salt.
Sure.
They do say some good things. I'm not poo-pooing everything, because they do have good ideas, reducing debt, looking at risk. But none of them know what you are, who you are, and how you want to function, and what your future is going to be, and what your plans are.
Exactly right. Yeah, just the parallel you gave with a doctor earlier too, like a TV doctor. Yeah, they can tell you about eating healthy or lowering cholesterol or something like that. But what is your situation? Maybe you need more than just a little bit of walk and exercise. Maybe there's medicine you need. They're not going to be able to diagnose that through the tube or through the computer.
That's right.
screen.
And maybe there's some plaque buildup you need to be taken care of. And so there are all those things. I equate that. Our daughter Barbie is a nurse. She's a pediatric oncology nurse manager down at Children's Hospital here in St. Louis, and she gets so frustrated when people come in onto their floor. It's a very serious situation because their child has cancer, but they've already got out to WebMD and said, I think this is what we need to do. And God bless them. They're trying to do the best thing for their children, but relying on the doctors and the professionals who are educated and understand exactly what the cutting edge of technology is in healthcare is very, very important. Just going to WebMD and saying, oh my gosh, this hurts, so I'm going to go to WebMD and see what it is. Well, that's like going to Wikipedia, and anybody can put anything out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, Jerry, if someone's hearing this and they realize, I don't have somebody giving me the tailored look at my retirement options, what do you recommend they do?
Here's what they should do.
Come on.
The first thing they should do is pick up the phone and call 314-442-6476. 314-442-6476. Go to rickenfinancial.com, R-I-C-K-E-N financial.com. Look at us on Facebook, on Instagram. Like us, just contact us, because Heidi and I are here to make sure that you will be living the best retirement that you can live.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, redefining retirement. In fact, that's the subtitle of the show here. So, again, check out rickenfinancial.com, their Facebook page, 314-442-6476. And also be sure to check out past episodes of this podcast, too. We've got over 40 episodes, over 45 episodes now that are on various financial topics and subjects. And, again, that's not how you apply them directly to you. You need to. That's just kind of getting you the first, like it's like boiling the water before adding the ingredients there. But go and check out and see where Jerry and Heidi stand on all sorts of things and see where you can fit in there, or how they can fit in with your retirement plan. So, Jerry, thank you so much for spending some time today. And I certainly learned not to get my financial advice off of TikTok.
See, you're learning every day, Doug, and that's what life's. That's very important to learn every day.
Yeah, now I just got to get off the dark web, and I'll be in even better shape there. Again, check out those past episodes on rickenfinancial.com, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and check out the Ricken Financial YouTube channel, too, where all these episodes are cataloged there, if that's what you prefer. So, Jerry, appreciate you making all that available, and especially so your time, and I look forward to having both you and Heidi on here soon.
All right. Well, we look forward to it as well, Doug.
Hey, that's going to be a great thing. And let's remember, everybody, that every day
is a holiday.
And life is short.
Laugh hard.
Thank you all for listening here to Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. He's Jerry Ricken. I'm Doug Turnbull, and we'll talk to y'all very soon.
By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Gerald Ricken, Missouri Insurance License, NPN number 924708. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Ricken Financial LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Ricken Financial LLC is licensed in your state, please call 314-442-6476.